What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna look at another video talking about US versus Europe. And I say Europe. I've been to other countries, but that's where that's where I want to end up, and I want to go back to and probably retire there, to be honest with you. And I'm gonna talk about why we're gonna watch this video and see the points that he's making, and I'll comment on the points that he's making. And I'll have a link to the original video in the description below. And without further ado, hit that subscribe button every time that I post another video. Let's get to it.
I just had a nightmare that I had to choose between 40 brands of toilet paper. It wasn't a nightmare. This is the US. I always enjoy coming back to the US to see family, friends, nature. The nature is unbeatable, especially in a place like California. But living in the US is sort of like living in one big Hollywood movie. It's an experience. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And after 4 years in Europe, I'm back in the US at the moment.
Yes, he's right. I worked in San Diego and I visited parts of California. And California is beautiful. But let's get to the rest of it. California is beautiful. I live in Florida. Same, I love where I live. I love where I live, but let's get to it.
Let me show you how I see the US now. It's time to do some grocery shopping. And of course, I hop in my car and drive 2 blocks to my local supermarket. And why walk when one can drive? Grocery shop.
You can't walk anywhere here. Very minimal places that you can live here. At least here in Florida. I know in New York is different, and in certain cities. But in Florida, you're pretty much driving everywhere. To go to the store, every time you go buy milk, you're gonna drive. Even if I want to go to the gas station and buy the milk, I'm gonna have to drive because there's no sidewalks at where I live. There's no sidewalks. Like, you'd have to go to a main road and just walk on the side of the road and look crazy, and you'll be the only one walking if you decide to walk.
Shopping is an experience, an adventure. You see, I'm used to only 1 or 2 choices of brands to choose from in the Netherlands. Here, there are like 50 brands of everything to choose from toilet paper to sausages to coffee. Let's see, hazelnut, maple pecan. I'm gonna go with caramel spice this time. On one hand, the variety is amazing. On the other, it can take me up to 15 minutes to buy toilet paper. And oh, do you know about our national treasure, Costco? At Costco, you'll find anything and everything in extra, extra, extra large.
You will not find in Europe, when I lived there, I don't remember this in Spain or in Italy. I'm sure they don't have it in Germany. I lived in Germany the most, but I was younger and it was a different situation. I was in the army. But even then, I don't remember, unless it was in the PX, really big items. Now, they do have in Asia a store that sells ridiculously big items, but that's a novelty. That's like a specialty store that they did on purpose. They purposely made, and I actually think it's in China. I think that store is actually, in a way, mocking U.S. stuff because it sells a lot of U.S. brands, but they have them huge. They'll like exaggerate the box of Frosted Flakes like from the ground up, like a big box up to my like mid stomach from the ground. It's huge, but it's a novelty. It's just like a specialty store. That's not where you go shop. But here, everything is bigger. I haven't been to any other country, and I've been to many where I find big ass bags of potato chips.
Everything really is bigger in the US. Plus the free samples, and the cheap hot dogs, and yes, unlimited drink refills. This is America.
What was that?
Holy crap, the selection is crazy. And while it's really nice to come back and see all this variety in the supermarkets from Safeway to Costco to Trader Joe's, it can be sometimes overwhelming when you have every single possible combination of coffee, toilet paper, and it can take me up to 20 minutes to buy a bag of chips.
Don't get it twisted. They do have different brands. They have different brands. Even when I was in Africa and I went to the supermarket or to the markets there, they had different varieties of things. Not in the street market, but in the supermarket. But not as many as here. They did have in Italy. They had different brands, but I didn't feel overwhelmed. And realized it when I got over there and I went shopping. After a while, I was like, yo, it's so nice to be able to just pick from, you know, 4 or 5 brands. Here, you'll have the same product, different brands going all the way around. 400 different flavors, which is it's not necessarily a bad thing. Everybody has a flavor, but at the same time, you know, it's like it can get overwhelming. But you got to understand how the U.S. is built. It's very, you know, it's a capitalist country where all these people can make products and everybody can sell. Everybody can, you know what I mean, can make a profit. It's all about profit.
And the thing about free soda refills, while I still love the concept and I loved it as a child, it's actually not so free because it's going to cost you in the long run in terms of your health.
Yes, they don't have free refills that I've seen. I've never seen free refills in Europe. You'd have to order another soda, which is great because I'm like, I don't want to pay for another soda. Just give me a water. It kind of helps you. Unless you're like, oh, I need that soda. No, here is just soda, soda, soda. And not only is it a soda here, but it's a big soda. Big. Hey, let me get more sugar. Let me get more sugar. That's why we're overweight here.
It's time to go meet some friends for
sick.
lunch. And on the way there, I see them. Oh my. It's always a shock. The homeless. This is the part that Hollywood never shows. But life goes on. It's part of everyday life in a big city. But I am looking forward to lunch and the food scene in the US. From Asian to Mexican to everything in between, there is something for everyone. And fast food everywhere.
Yep.
Every block, every mall.
The fast food scene in the city, I would imagine, like my daughter tells me that in you know, they have the fast food. They have Five Guys and McDonald's, you know, but not everywhere. Even their own fast food brands, which is, I don't even know what fast food brands they had in Italy. I don't think they have fast food really. There's really no such thing as fast food because even in the gas stations, the food tasted fresher. But it's not like for us to go to McDonald's. I remember in when we lived in Italy, we had to drive like shit. We had to drive. We had to drive to the next town, and I think go into a big mall to go into McDonald's, and it was like a 45-minute to an hour drive to get over there, to get to the McDonald's. And there was a Burger King also somewhere around there, but the Burger King was spread out. Everything's spread out. It's like you're gonna have a McDonald's. It's not like here, Panda, McDonald's, you know, Five Guys. This is all together. They're spread out.
Every day. No wonder everyone is so big. Damn, I already gained 20 pounds. But I know I will lose it all when I get back to the Netherlands. And during
love
lunch,
cheese
my friend
sandwiches.
mentions her son had an allergic reaction. Went to the emergency room. Luckily, he was fine, but they received a bill for $20,000. And then my other friend tells me about the time he fainted, got transported to and was handed a $10,000 bill.
Yeah, you know, luckily I got insurance for the wife and kids through the, you know, my military stuff, but not everybody has that. And healthcare is expensive here. It is. Even when you have insurance, not all insurances are good. That's a very, very, that one right there. I didn't realize how crazy that was until, because I've never really been without insurance. Thank God, you know, I'm a veteran. When I was younger, my mom had us. I don't know what insurance we had when we were younger. I know we weren't rich. We didn't have shit. We lived in a little apartment. It had asbestos in it. But I remember we had some kind of insurance. I don't know if it was Medicaid or what it was. Medicare, I don't know. But there's people that just don't have insurance. Over there in Italy, we felt
definitely
because of the way we went, you know, we had visas and work visas and things like that. So we got the insurance from Italy, so we were just able to go to the doctor. You know what I mean? But again, I always tell the story. It's awesome until it's not. And it was awesome because, yeah, we go to the doctor for a checkup free. It doesn't really cost anything. If you go, it might cost you, I don't know, I think I paid €6 for something. You know, the rest I don't remember paying anything. And then, we got checked out. But when my wife needed that procedure, there was a waiting list that was like months long. So she'd have to be in pain for months. So she ended up flying back to the US to get it done quickly. You know what I'm saying? So it's a give and take, but overall, yeah, it's good to have the free or no cost or low cost healthcare for everyone.
makes one think twice before deciding to go to the. And then we talk about work, which is the most American thing to talk about. And he tells me casually, it's fine, same old, had to work this past weekend. Still working 60 hours a week. And I think to myself,
If I ever decide to return back to the US, I think it would be quite difficult for me to adapt back to the American way of life, culture, in terms of working, the number of hours, the stress, the lack of vacation, the fact that people don't take their vacation days.
That's one thing we don't do here. We don't take it. As a matter of fact, right now, I don't work 60 hours a week. I am not doing that anymore. I used to because that's normal. My boss just told me, hey man, you got a bunch of days. You got to burn them because you're about to lose a lot of them. So I'm kind of burning through them here and there. When I worked in Italy, even though I worked for an American company, the customer was Italian. So I lived, I worked with the customer. I worked with the customer, and our customer, we fell under their work ethic, which was crazy to me. The first day I showed up to work, I showed up at 6 a.m. There was nobody there. I normally show up at 6 a.m. here. There was nobody there. There was a guard at the gate, and he was in the back with another guard drinking coffee or playing cards or something. I don't know what they were doing because I saw them through the crack, and I was knocking on the thing, and he's like, nah, we're not letting you in, bro. It's not. No. And I called my boss, who was American. He was there in Italy, and he was like, and I could tell he had just woken up. And he's like, hey sir. I said, hey sir, I'm sorry. I'm late. It was my first day. I said, it was 6:15, and I was like, my head was about to explode because I thought I was late. I was like, I'm gonna get fired. I just got here. And he was like, what are you doing over there? I was like, I'm coming to work at 6. He's like, dude, no, we don't show up till like 8:30, 9 o'clock. He said between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, everyone starts to show up. So I was like, wow. And then I had to get used to it. We took a lot of coffee breaks. They were just very relaxed, very nonchalant. They just worked. And it wasn't like it wasn't like, oh, we got this deadline. This better be done by, like here,
But I do miss parts of American work culture, the drive, the ambition, the energy, being surrounded by people who are very ambitious about their careers. It drove me to become a better person, a more confident person. And to be honest, I do miss that because that is part of my DNA growing up in the US.
He's completely right about that. Completely right. And I did that in the last video I did about USA, Europe. That's one thing. That is one thing. I do love almost, I love the life in Europe. But I do, because of the way that I was raised here, it's almost like, it's not that they don't have drive, but I feel like the drive that they have is way less than what I have. Like, I want to do this. I want, and I'm going to do it regardless. I'm not going to give up. They're just like, just going about it, very relaxed. I noticed it at work. They don't have the drive that we have. So, that energy to get this done, they don't have it. And you can see it even in their construction. Not that their construction is bad. Their construction is great. I'm talking about the time it takes for them to build something. Their construction is great. They have great construction, okay? But I'm just saying, the way they work is just very like, lay this brick. All right, I'll take a break. I'll come back tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's different.
But it's a trade-off, right? It's a trade-off between, yes, you do make a lot more money in the US, but the trade-off is time.
and then we start talking about vacation. Another friend tells me about his jam-packed 1-week vacation visiting 4 countries. And I was like, how is that possible? 4 countries, 1 week? Then I remember. That's how I used to travel as well.
And that's the thing, right? When you don't have that much time, you learn to pack everything in. I remember when I was traveling to Europe during my first time, I traveled to 10 countries in 2 weeks because, well, when you only have 2 weeks, you learn to pack everything in. I had this Google Sheets, the agenda every day from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Every hour had an agenda, something.
So When I was younger, like everybody has a misconception of everything unless you live it or go through or experience it, right? Over there, they got a misconception of here, and over here, we got misconceptions of there. I used to think Europeans were rich. I just think every European was rich because they were always on vacation. And what I grew to learn, living there and going over there, was that it's not that they're rich, it's that they have a culture of, I don't even know how to put it, but they go on vacation, and it's part of the culture. It's in their DNA to, let's take a break. They take breaks. Let's take a break. And when they go on vacation, they go on vacation. And also, it is when he says, "Oh, visiting 10 countries." I've had friends that they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to the Netherlands, then we're going to Germany, then we're going to Spain, and then we're gonna come back to Italy." And I'm like, "How is that? It's cheap to fly from one country to another over there. I've seen flights for $30. Fly, boom, 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 go and stay 2 days here, 2 days here, come back. Cheap. It's cheap for them it's affordable for them. For us, it's not. To go to another state, it's like $400. You know what I mean? So, it's they have a culture of vacation. Here, the culture is make money. So I always say, if you want to make money, come to the U.S. If you want to make money to build a nest egg, and then take back with you, best plan in the world. I learned that a little bit late, but I'm doing it now, so I don't care. It's never too late.
And that's the thing, right? When you travel so far to Europe, to Asia from the US, and you only have 1-2 weeks, you better make the most out of your time. Now let's get back to paying the bill.
But wait, what the hell is this? Sales tax? Tip? Madness! I need to walk off this madness and the lunch. I walk towards Stanford University, which is nearby. I walk, and then I realize that I'm the only person walking.
I think I know what he's gonna say. They don't walk over there. And tipping culture, disgusting over here. Disgusting. I stopped tipping in a lot of places. Restaurants, I'm still gonna tip. Starbucks, you hand me a coffee, I'm not tipping you. I went to Five Below, asked for a tip over here. Was it Five Below? I don't remember what store. One of these stores. Put stuff in my bag and gave me the bag, and then when I went to pay, tip. What? No, I'm not tipping in a store where I'm standing at the counter and you're just handing me my stuff. I'm not tipping at a freaking drive-thru.
Oh wow, it's a lot further than I thought. No wonder nobody walks in the US. I arrived at campus to see a bunch of tourists. American universities, especially elite ones, are tourist hotspots. The brand name, the letters, the cost of tuition. It's one of the biggest businesses in the
58,000 annual. I'm getting my master's right now. My wife's getting her bachelor's. I'm finishing my master's. Our schooling is free again, military. Pretty much, and like my daughter says, she's like, man, it seems like you got to be in the military to get anything for free here, or to kind of mimic, what a little bit what you have in Europe. You know what I mean? And she's right. She's right. There's really no other way unless you just have a crazy good job, and the way to get it is however you got it, or you just make enough money to be able to. But everything is pay. Everything that you should need to live, you pay. 58,000 a year. Granted, do you need college to make money? No. I think over there college is free. For the most part, it costs nothing. And, over there, I think to get ahead over there in Europe, you need college. You need college. Over there to get ahead, you're not going to, unless you're a rapper or something, or an artist, you're not going to get ahead without college over there. You got to have some kind of certification, training, something. Here is the only place where you could be a millionaire without speaking English.
US. And then I overhear some people talking about the most recent mass shooting.
A mass shooting at an American school in suburban Denver.
We are 25 days in, and there have been 40 mass shootings.
It seems like this is the norm nowadays in the US. It's sad and it's horrible. And the police, they beat up someone else again. What's sad is that many people no longer trust the police. And I know plenty of great police officers. But all it takes is a few bad apples to ruin it for the rest of them. Now I wonder what the news outlets are saying, because I've stopped reading the news.
Yeah, I did too.
It's like this all-out war. CNN versus Fox.
Yeah.
You get two different stories.
I stopped listening to news, right and left. I don't listen to none of them. I don't listen. I don't have it on my phone. I don't do none of that. Right or left. I don't follow none of that shit. None of it. If I don't even have TikTok. I don't have Instagram. I don't have Facebook. I think I deleted X. Everything. I don't have anything. I don't want to see anything. Everything is just bad news. And I'm trying to get that negativity out of my mind. Yes, they do have shootings here. They do. They have shootings in other places, but not like over there. It's normally politically driven. As far as like maybe in Africa, you'll have in some country in Africa, you'll have some warlord that did something, but you don't hear about it like here. You know what I'm saying? We're in the spotlight. There's a spotlight on the U.S. for everything. Anything that happens in the U.S., the whole world's gonna know right away. Anything that happens somewhere else, we're not gonna know. We're not gonna know somebody gets killed in Germany unless they do like a true crime thing on it, and then we happen to see it on Discovery Plus. But the minute something happens here, they're gonna know about it right away. Everybody, we're on the spotlight.
It seems like such a divided country nowadays. The left versus the right, Democrats versus Republicans, the police versus the world.
And this is the thing that always shocks me when I come back now. How divided the country has become. I mean, you can literally lose a friend because of politics. The media has done a role in pitting this group versus this group as well. And it's sad because it doesn't seem so united anymore. It seems quite divided.
Yeah, we're definitely not the United States anymore. We're just the divided states or the states. That's it. Definitely not the United States. Politics has definitely, especially the last couple of years, has divided everything and everyone. You can't, if you say the wrong thing, which is why it's another reason why I don't even talk about that. And my daughter she brings things up sometimes, and I try to ignore her when she talks because I'm like, this girl, because she's saying whatever CNN told her to say, or whatever Fox put on Instagram or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's what everybody's doing. Everybody does that. I was doing that for a while. I was brainwashed and reading and then regurgitating what they were saying, and it's like I really don't give a shit about that. You know what I mean? I mean, I should, I know, but I mean, like, I'm not trying to lose a family member, get into an argument with a family member over that shit. You know what I mean?
Every time I come back, and it's sad. And the thing about the police, well, the police, they have such a bad reputation now, when in fact, they should be part of the community, protecting people. And yes, there have been very unfortunate events that have happened. But when I think about the majority of the police officers that I have met in the past, they've been good people, genuinely good people. And nowadays, we tend to label people based on this profession. It's a bias, when in fact, I think it's wrong to do that. I think we should judge people based on their character.
Agree. I've been saying that's the beginning. I thought that's what, in the beginning of this whole divide thing years ago, or what is it? Probably 8 years ago, whenever it started, when it really started getting divided, I was like, okay, we're looking at the bad characters. That's what I thought. Characters. I'm talking about your character, how you are, what you choose to do, how you choose to be. But it's not that. No, what they're doing is they're dividing people in color. If you're white, you're bad. If you're black, you're bad. If you're this, you're that bad. They're not even looking at if you literally broke a law that you're bad. They're just looking at, your skin color or your religion or what job you do. Oh, if you chose to be a cop, you're automatically bad.
Not on a label that we attach
Gotta pay the bills, right?
them to. But yeah, I hope things get better. I don't think so in the short term, but I hope things get better.
But hey, at least public restrooms are still free in the US. It's time to head to the mall to do some shopping and say hello to American.
Yeah, he's saying in some places in Europe you gotta pay to go to the restroom, like whatever it is, €1, I don't know, a quarter, whatever it is. They're niggles. I didn't see that too much in Italy where I had to pay to go to the bathroom. It was pretty much free, but I did see it in Amsterdam. Amsterdam, I remember paying. I don't remember in Europe. I mean, in Germany or Spain, but in some places you do gotta pay. But it's not really such a big deal because You normally it's second nature to them because everybody normally carries coins with them. Here we don't carry coins. We barely carry cash. Over there they carry coins with them. They use the cards also, Tap to Pay and Apple Pay and all that, but they use coins a lot over there. So
consumerism, and overly friendly customer service people. Shopping in the US is sort of like a game, looking for deals, getting credit card points. It can be extremely fun and addicting. But this is all part of the game of American consumerism, so be careful, or else you'll be in credit card debt like a dearth of Americans.
he said the customer thing. The debt thing, obviously, I've been in debt and it sucked. It took me a long time to get out of it. And I'm not going to do that shit again. So don't get in debt. Don't be stupid. People get into these car payments and all these things that are just ridiculous over here. Over there, they have like no customer service. Customer service is like a thing here. And the reason why I think it's customer service is a thing here, because we want the customer to keep buying. We want the customer to keep spending money. So they're extra nice to them. Extra customer service. Customer's always right. Customer's always right because the customer has the money. Over there, no. Over there, you're not going to go in and they might say, hey, what's up, welcome, hello, whatever. But that's it. You need something? No? Okay. That's it. They're not going to keep asking you. They're not going to go above and beyond. I'm not saying they're not nice. It's just that you're going to notice customers not always right. And don't try to be a Karen in a restaurant over there. We went to a restaurant, quick story, where my wife wanted a steak. My wife likes her steak well done. I remember she didn't eat steak in there anymore. I ate steak there all the time. Delicious, because I eat my stuff medium, a little rare, medium, red in the middle, a little pink in the middle. I like my stuff. I don't like it well done. They don't make well done steak over there. They don't do that. They are very, in Italy, they are very true to their culinary art and their form. And they believe the steak comes this way. This is the way we make it. This is the way you're going to get it. She said, yeah, let me have this well done. The waitress was like, no. That's Yo, I wanted to die laughing. I told her, just order something else. Just order the chicken or something. I don't know. Order something else. Just because they're not going to give it to you well done. You know what I mean? In Spain, they gave us a hot plate, so she was able to sear it, but they still didn't do well done.
Well, it's late and it's time to head home. And of course, there's traffic at 3 p.m. And this guy ahead of me just cut off the cyclist. It's quite a shock to see bikes, cars, buses, motorcycles all merging together in one lane. It can be quite dangerous to cycle in an American city. I then go and meet some friends for a drink, and I meet all these techies. And of course, I get asked the popular question.
Hey, so what do you do?
I make YouTube videos.
Oh, so you work for YouTube and Google, right?
No, I just make videos.
Oh, okay. So this is something that Americans do really well. We tend to compare ourselves against one another. It's a very competitive society. And we do this at a very young age. Which school, which college did you go to? What type of job, which company, who got promoted?
Yeah, that's a thing. That's the thing that I saw over there. Over there, I remember going to lunch or dinner, hanging out with my boss and the other bosses. You know what I mean? And I was just a field engineer, and I was, that unless it's a company thing, we would never do that back home. We separate ourselves from everyone. You know what I'm saying? By layer of I guess societal value, not value, but like, your place in society. Like, oh, this guy's this guy, this guy's that, and that also bleeds into just everyday living. We like to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. So my neighbor has, a Honda. I go and buy an Acura. This guy has a Toyota. He goes and buy a Lexus. You know what I mean? We gotta always one up everyone. Oh, he got a 3-bedroom. I'm buying a 4-bedroom with a yard. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. Like, and then I got this, I got that. They don't care over there. The same person who lives in that 1-bedroom apartment over there is hanging out with the person who lives in that 5-bedroom house with like 3 acres of land. Who is a big executive at some place. You know what I mean? Like people just enjoy people over there. You know what I mean? It's different over here. It's just a different mentality.
It's part of the system. It's a very competitive society, in my opinion, compared to other societies. And I remember there was one time when I first started off my career, I was working in the Big Four accounting firm. And I went out to a bar with some friends. They were all investment bankers. And I was talking to this one girl who was an investment banker. And of course, we talked about what we did. And when I told her that I worked in a Big Four firm, she kind of looked down upon me and said something very judgmental, like, oh, you only work at a Big Four company. And so I just remember feeling very crappy at that point in time, like I wasn't good enough. But I don't blame her. It's the system that we grow up in. And we tend to judge
I blame
each
her.
other
I blame
based
her.
on what we do.
What a long,
I blame her. Fuck all that.
exhausting day. Just another day in Hollywood.
So, I mean, there's a lot of differences. Again, that's just, it is what it is. That's just the truth, you know. But with that said, with all the differences that we do have, you know, love where you live and live where you love. You know what I mean? Don't be that guy that moves somewhere just to bitch. Like, you don't move to Chad in Africa to bitch about everything. Like, you did your homework before you moved. You didn't put a blindfold on and told the captain, just land anywhere and that's where I'm going to live. You had to have done some research. You had to have either been there, read about it, whatever, and saw something like, oh man, I'm going to live over there. And then you go over there and just to complain about it. There's going to be good things and bad things everywhere. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference between the US and the and Europe. Big differences. Is Europe all good? No. There's things over there that you're not going to like. There's things over there that you may not like. I had a friend over there who just did not like Italy, which blew my mind. He didn't like it. He wanted to come back to the US. And he came back. He didn't like it. I love it. I'm trying to go back. You know, but I've never been somewhere where I go and I complain. You can't tell me I'm not complaining about anything. I don't sit there, oh, it's so bad. Oh, I hate this place. Then don't go there. I don't understand that. That's putting all that negativity on yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're always going to be like that. No matter, there's never going to be a perfect place for you. The best place in the world, you're going to hate it. You're going to find something bad about the best place in the world when you have that mentality. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, there's bad places everywhere. There's good places everywhere. There's good things and bad things about everything. You know what I mean? You just got to be able, see what you can handle. Be like, okay, this place has this, this is what they do, this is how they live. Can I handle that? Okay, yeah. For example, in Europe, everything, and where I lived in Italy, everything closed fairly early. Where here you can still go to the store maybe at 10 or 11. And even here they're closing a little early now. But if you came from New York like I did, where you wanted to get a pastrami sandwich at 2 in the morning and get your tires changed, you can. You can. You want to find Greek food at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can. Because it was always running. New York is 24 hours. Where in other places, once you move, like when I moved to Florida, it wasn't like that. They close. You can still find food, but, in Europe, the gas stations close, which is crazy. Because over here, they're 24 hours, Not that they don't have 24-hour gas, but it's harder to find. You only probably will find one. In the town where I lived, there was only one that was open 24 hours. I think it was 24 hours. I never went past 12, but you know what I mean? So just things you got to get used to. But anyway, again, this is a second part in that series of comparing Europe to the US. I think I made it a series now because this is the second one I did in 2 days. Just because, when you pick a video, the algorithm keeps feeding you that. You know what I mean? And I'm just finding these videos and it's really amazing what I'm seeing. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you've lived in Europe and lived back here or vice versa. If you lived here and now live in Europe, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And as always, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next smoke.